Hazen. Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Getting off baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
You guessed it. See, already smiling. There's nobody I'd rather be talking to right now than Mike Hazen. You try not to smile, but you can't.
It's a very boring life if that's the case. I'll just tell you that.
It's not.
It is.
It's great. So I was going to take a baseball's a boring sticker and light it on fire as a sacrifice for you.
Yes.
Should I do that?
No. Baseball isn't boring. Provides they've lost their luster. It's your has been in the world of prognostication.
That's false. That's false.
Yeah.
False. I have plenty of it. I believe in you. I believe in your team. I believe in the baseballs and boring vibe. If nothing else, you have 50 baseballs and boring stickers. Here's the question. When I sent you the stickers, right? What did you do with them?
I carried a couple with me for a few days. Some car crash losses later, I was like, let's torch these things.
Well, clearly, I can only lead you to water. I could only put you, in the words of the great Kevin Kennedy, I can only put you in position to succeed.
You can't get me the last out?
No, what you had to do was take the ample amount of stickers that I gave you, put them in each locker, put them in Torey Lovello's hat.
Okay.
You can't just let them sit there. Let's go.
All right, that's fair. I appreciate the advice.
All right, you're welcome. All right, how's this trade deadline different for you?
Trade deadline's a little different just because of the composition of the roster, where we're sitting here. In years past, we haven't necessarily got the engine running the way we needed to all the way there. But, last year we were in the midst of a pretty good run coming into the deadline. I think 2 years ago we were going in the opposite direction, but we had built up to 19 games over at one point in the beginning of June. So even though we were sliding back to eventually 3 to 4 under, at this point in time when we were going to buy, we were still healthy over 500. I think the landscape in the National League has changed. I think there's more competitive teams than there has been over the last couple of years. It's great for the game, bad for where we're standing right now. And look, at some point, we're going to have to make some hard decisions relative to how we've played from a consistency standpoint. We just haven't turned enough games into wins. We're playing around 500. We've been around 500 the whole year. We're under now. That's not a good place to be. Not that we can't dig out from under that spot and get into this thing, but the urgency is going to have to be there immediately.
How long does you take before you have to have that rubber meets the road moment? A couple of years ago, I think it was – the Cubs were sort of in a similar situation, and they righted their ship in the weeks after the All-Star game, and they ended up, I think they got Candelaria, I believe. And then, obviously you have the Tigers who are sitting there at 1.8% to make the playoffs, and they make the moves and they get going. I don't know. So how much time do you give yourself in the next week or so?
I'd love to give it as much time as we can. I do think at some point the amount of phone calls that we're receiving that, we have to engage in some of those phone calls at some point. And, whether this results in buying and selling, whether this results in us making a trade or two, but not going all the way there, it's hard to say right now. And certainly if we rip off some games in a row, then you could swing back around the other side. I do think our bullpen needs some help. We've taken on a lot of injuries in that area. So no matter what happens, in order for us to reasonably think we're going to make a run in the next 2.5 months, addressing the bullpen is going to be important, and adding some firepower to that group. We do have some depth in position players, but again, I've been kind of saying this now for a month, and what my hope for this is and what we're actually going to do may not be the same thing just because of the way we played.
You're in a unique spot. Like you said, this deadline is different. And one of the reasons it's different is because you have a lot of guys in contract years and you have a lot of good players in contract years. And so when you say you're getting calls, that must be different for you. Not only because teams maybe sense, hey, maybe we can get these guys, but also because you have so many of them. Like this must be like when are you getting a lot of calls right now of teams trying to sort of jump the market a little bit because they know that you have contract year guys?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We're getting hit pretty aggressively. We've been getting hit pretty aggressively, but my playing hard to get, sort of waiting for the team to figure out what it wants to do, is probably getting near an end point. I can only do that for so much longer, and I don't want to be in a position just hoping. At some point, I can't just sit here and hope that things are going to turn around the way they are. I can't undo some of the injuries we've had. Like that's sort of that's a constant. That in some cases can't be fixed. There can be some changes made, but I don't know that we can fix sort of the fundamental nature of what's happened there. And I at some point you have to engage in some of these conversations. It's because you have to plan and prepare for what might happen and to do a good job if you are going to make trades. So we'll see. I think yes, it's most of I think at this stage of the game when you're under 500 and there's this many buyers out there, they are now coming at the sellers pretty aggressively to let them know we want this player and that player.
Are the calls getting progressively more aggressive?
Draft has a way of sort of hitting pause on the trade deadline. Now that the draft is where it is, everybody last week into the draft and into the deadline, into the break, kind of it sort of dies out a little bit. They were pretty aggressive before. I've already had 6 to 7 phone calls in the last 24 hours. So I'm expecting that to continue. And the conversations now are becoming more specific and real about who exactly they want, who they don't want or wouldn't want, what exactly they're planning on doing. And then, we have a way of now figuring out what a market would be for anyone involved.
Have you, one of the things that I like about the way you do things, congratulations, I'm complimenting you, building you up. But, it seems like you like to identify, this is what we need, this is what we want. Okay, let's get the deal done, right? And so are you sort of now looking at, do you have players in mind or packages in mind or team or partners in mind that you're like, I know that a lot of teams are calling, but these are the ones I want to kind of focus on. Does that make sense?
Yes, and we have all that.
Yeah.
Yes, we've done that. That's what we've done over the last couple of weeks. I now have an idea, a very firm idea of who the dance partners are going to be. And when if we choose to act, I don't know if we'll get deals done with them, but yes, I have a very strong idea of that. And you're right. If we decide to make moves, I'm just going to make them. So we're going to get deals done. And I don't really want to be in that position necessarily on a sell side. I'd rather be in that position on a buy side. But we'll see where that takes us. But yes, we are creating. We have a pretty good understanding of where the landscape is. Some of these phone calls that we make or get in the next 48, 72 hours are going to be confirming interest. Like, hey, you kind of said this. This is kind of what we have you for. This is who we said you were interested in. Things have changed, guys. Teams have taken on some injuries. At this time of year, you have to react to every injury you get. So if you felt like you were a strong position player group and you lost a couple guys to injury over the last 2 weeks or even in the next 10 to 14 days coming up, you sometimes have to pivot and be like, I wasn't in the position player market. Now I'm in the position player market. Or I had a good starting pitching group and some depth and I lost a starting pitcher for the next 2 months. Now I have to be in the starting pitching market. That's going to happen too. So I don't know where all that goes. I mean, and similarly, I think there's teams that are like us that could flip from buy to sell. That changes the landscape of the market considerably. If we flip to a strong buying situation, we're taking a number of teams off the market, and that's going to change. That's going to change the deadline dramatically.
How's this market different from the last couple of years? I know that going back a couple of years, I use you as an example when you're looking for a starting pitcher, and starting pitching, as Breslow said to me the other day, is like, this is the hardest thing, man. Like finding top level starting pitching is the hardest thing. You experienced that a couple of years ago. I don't know if this market feels any different at all. How does it feel?
I think the pitching market is always the toughest market to figure out. It's the highest price usually. Everybody needs pitching. Everyone can fit pitching on their team. The position players are different because if you're looking for a specific position, but you have that position, you may like the players that we have. You may not be able to fit them on your roster. Right? I think that's the challenge with if you're taking especially non-middle of the field players, like taking a shortstop, playing him at second base, or taking a center fielder and moving him to a corner. Whereas with pitching, reliever or starter, almost every team has a need for those guys, and you have 13 of them on your roster, and usually there's somebody that can be optioned, or you can make a decision and fit that player onto your roster to upgrade it. And I think that's why the pitching drives a higher price, is because there's usually more suitors in there.
And especially, you have Reynolds, and then you have guys in the control. And I go back a couple of years ago, like Cease a couple of years ago, Crochet last year. Like these teams don't have to trade these guys. But to get to this point, is it 2x? Is it 3x compared to what you would be paying for in the offseason? In other words, do you feel like the desperation of teams, and the fact that the teams trading these guys don't have to trade them, that the prices are just like outrageous compared to maybe if you wait 3 months?
It's hard to say. Yeah. I think what you're getting at the deadline is certain urgency from teams that know they're in it and want to win a World Series. And yes, that's a different emotional place to be than when it's the middle of January and you have all these options.
But you tried to do it. You tried, like I said, a couple of years ago, like you said, I tried, man. I tried, that World Series year, right? Correct?
Yeah. There may not be the amount of players out there. If some teams switch to buyers or stay in it, that people are assuming are sellers, it's going to pull players off the market. And when that happens, there's not going to be enough. Let's just take pitching. There's not going to be enough pitching on the market to satisfy 20 teams. No chance. So there's going to be teams that get left without it. And that's what drives, in my opinion, that market. The position players is a little bit different just because, if you have those players on your roster that fill those positions, you might be looking for an upgrade, but you may not be able to fit that upgrade under your team. Even if they're a superstar, of course you'll fit them on your team. Mm-hmm. But if you're not looking at a superstar player, you may not just be able to fit them on your team, and you may have to just pass. You may just have to not do it. But the urgency around the deadline, it's why no matter what you decide to do on July 18th, most of these deals aren't coming till the last 72 hours.
Yeah. From your perspective of the guys that you have, that teams are showing interest, what is your perception of? Are you surprised by the level of interest? I mean, when I say level of interest, what you're being offered, or are you underwhelmed by it?
Neither right now. We have really good players that are having really good years, so you're going to get interest, and we've gotten a lot of it. I don't know what to make of what we're going to get if we do something, because I've told you already, I haven't fully engaged in that yet. We'll see. You again, and reacting to the level of urgency with 2 weeks to go and a full market of supply out there versus the last 72 to 48 hours to go, when players have gotten ripped off the board and teams that haven't made deals and need to upgrade or need that, the conversations change overnight. They change overnight. Or a team that's doing really well loses 3 to 4 games, 5 games in a row, feels themselves slipping. Then the urgency to, hey, we need to improve this roster if we're going to stay in this thing. All that changes. So you just have to be patient in some of these cases. But at some point, to get deals done, you also have to put things on the table and just tell teams that this is what you'll do, and that's when you get your best responses.
Yeah. I don't do people do that enough?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, everybody's different. Everyone behaves differently. There's teams like if you want to fashion yourself as trying to be aggressive and making deals, like there's teams out there that made way more trades than I have. So maybe I'm not doing it right, And I'm sure you would do it better than everybody if you had that opportunity.
I would.
Just given your intelligence and shockingly good looks and those types of things. You just have a way with people.
You listen, the gray beard tells me that I'm very smart. All that I'm missing is like the patches on my sport coat. And
yeah.
I
think a bad look for you. But this look isn't great either, just so you know.
I mean, in fairness, is there a good look for me?
No, none of us. We all go on radio, Rob.
No, but I get the backwards hat, though. It's like, hello, fellow kids. Hey,
yeah, I get it. Thank you for calling me a kid. I'm 50. So,
congratulations.
49. I round up.
When's your birthday?
January.
All right, happy birthday in advance.
So it's coming. It's coming to the back half, right? We're getting to the.
Don't say that. Don't say so. So, like, as we sit here, like you said, you get out of the All-Star game. How do you feel? Like, first of all, did you have a restful break?
No.
Okay.
Did you?
I went to the All-Star game. No.
Okay.
No. It was. But do you feel? Are you like? How do you feel now? Like as we sit here, besides having the adrenaline of doing this podcast, like. How do you feel like heading into the last 2 weeks? Are these 2 weeks any different for you guys? I mean,
how you
feel?
Yes.
Less sleep?
Every game matters. Every game switches some momentum or some feelings when you're in a position like we're in. If you're 10 games over 500, you're buying, you're still stressed out about every game going into the deadline, but you're pretty confident, you play pretty good baseball, you're buying. Like it is what it is. And now you're just focused on the plan. I think when you're in the mud, like we are, like every game, especially a run of games, could change exactly how you're looking because your intention is not to want to sell, but you also can't just be blinded to how your team's performing and where your holes may exist that may be fixable, maybe not fixable via trade or what it's going to actually cost. So you're trying to weigh that decision. The players are going after it and playing as hard as they ever have and are giving it everything I know that and working as hard as they ever have. And so you want to be in that with them for sure. But at the same time, like your record's your record. You got to react to the record. Your job is not just to dive in blindly all into everything that you're doing. You have to, I think there has to be some intelligence layered into it as much as being a competitor tells you to just close your eyes and the team's going to start playing better. At some point they have to start doing it and we're watching.
Do you get everybody together at that moment or a moment and say, all right, guys, we have to figure that out, fork in the road time. Do you have that with your guys? Or do you just say, do you just sort of know, say, hey, everybody?
I mean, I feel like if I have to have that conversation with a veteran team.
Well, I mean, no, but like with your front office, no, I sort of ask them to just prepare for all scenarios. I don't want them really wasting time, diverting attention that they could be, spending on. But the situation we're in, we have to still prepare for all scenarios. Like if we go out there and rip off 6 in a row, we're right in the thick of this thing. And yeah, I'm not selling like or we would at least, maybe the degree that which we could buy or how we thought we could buy may be different than, what we ultimately end up choosing to do. But we're at the mercy of that, unfortunately. And everyone in the front office knows that. And, everyone's intention is the same. Everybody wants to buy. And I think selling will be done reluctantly. But we have jobs to do. And I think everybody understands that. I believe in you.
Thank you.
And I can't remember if I asked, if you win the World Series, will you get a Baseballs and Boring tattoo?
At this point, given what's our percentage chance to win the World Series?
I don't know. Like I said, the Tigers were 1.8 at the deadline.
Yeah. Yes, I will.
Oh, you already have tattoos.
A bunch. So I'll put it somewhere, but yes, I would. Yes.
How many tattoos you got?
Enough. A lot.
Oh, all right. Well, this will be the best one. Not the
Okay.
best one.
It
I'm
would
sure
definitely won't be the best one.
No.
It will be immediately regretted, but I will follow through with it. Yes.
I can't wait to be like in the middle of that clubhouse with champagne being poured all over the place.
I appreciate that.
I
Thank you.
can't wait. So thank you. The good things coming.
Okay, thanks.